Somebody asked me that day a question. What do you teach? I say, what comes through. Where you have learned. I say, right from the great teacher itself. For how long you studied? I say, earth year, couple of years, 20, whatever you want to call it. But if you want to know the reality, for billions of years, this is the only job I have been doing.
It's a golden chain of teachers that goes from time immemorial, goes forward into time immemorial. I want to open the energy field so you can experience some of the love that I experienced from my teacher. And this goes back countless lifetimes and countless infinite locations. It's a beautiful thing. It's very rare on this planet, and it's virtually unheard of in, say, Western culture here. So we're operating on lower frequencies and inundated with lower frequencies, so we don't understand the capacity of devotion and love that a teacher and a student can achieve. That's my prayer, is that you can have some taste of that infinite connection.
One of the things that I personally never questioned was my teacher and my path. I might question myself a lot, but then I turned to the teacher to guide me, turned to the technology to guide me. There's infinite love in the lineage. There really is. Do you need a teacher in this system? Yeah, you do. People say that you don't need it. That's false. That's not right. You need a teacher. You 100% need a teacher. That's how the lineage is passed from heart to heart. It's not passed through information. It's passed through a heart exchange. And that's why no matter what level you practice at, you have to have a certain respect. And you have to have a certain respect for the person who's delivering it. Because you're receiving something very, very, very precious that you oftentimes work lifetimes for. So you have to have a reverence. When I married Hariдживан, he had me watch the film The Secret World of the Lama, because he said, Mandeiv, you're entering the secret world of the Lama. And he's a very private person and a hidden yogi. And he's extremely rare because he holds two lineages at the same time. Usually a practitioner, you have one lineage, one technology, and that's it. And you can't really practice from both, but he can. One lineage that he holds is from the Tibetan side with Lama Lilienpo, and the second lineage is with Yogi Bhajan, both of whom studied with Sant Hazara Singh. And we're lucky to even be celebrating his birthday this year because, we almost lost him a few times. And one night in particular, it was after midnight, we were in the emergency room, and I remember there's 4 to 5 doctors in the room, including his daughter. There was a bunch of nurses. Everyone was trying to stabilize him. And I remember at one point his daughter leaned over and asked him, Papa, you're not going to leave, are you? And then after the doctors took him, I walked all around the hospital for hours and hours and hours, just chanting the Mo mantra over and over again, nonstop. This mantra, I have a deep relationship with. It roots you into the heavens and it roots you into the earth. And I was trying to use my relationship with it to keep him here. And while I was walking the hospital chanting, I kept Yogi Bhajan's Tradakam photo in my mind because almost half a century earlier, that's how Haридживан first connected with his teacher before he met him in the physical realm. He was meditating one morning, and during his meditation, Haридживан entered a great cathedral dome. And in that dome, he was surrounded by 1,000 or more Tradakam pictures, all beaming on him. And as I was walking the hospital, I remembered several stories that Haридживан told me. In one, he said Yogi Bhajan once told him that he had the blood of Guru Gobind Singh running through his veins. And he said to Haридживан, if you don't understand that, then you know nothing. And once we went to France, and we visited the room where his root guru, Dujam Rinpoche, left his body. And it was such a sunny day, everything was clear, and when we left, a big rainbow appeared in the sky, and it seemed to cover the entire valley. It was incredible. The colors were so bright. Haридживан had told me when he first met Dujam Rinpoche in London in the 1970s, that night in the dream space, he saw vivid colors that he had never seen before or since. And another story is when Yogi Bhajan's wife spoke to Yogi Bhajan, saying, you need to talk to Haридживан right away. You must talk to him right away. Talk to him, talk to him. Yogi Bhajan looked at her and said, I know what every hair on his body is doing. And another time, Yogi Bhajan said to Haридживан, you exist purely on the tantric energy. If I withdraw it, you'll fall flat on your face. And so Haридживан's been very public by saying he served his teacher, Yogi Bhajan, for lifetimes upon lifetimes. All of his lifetimes, he's just served his teacher. And once Yogi Bhajan said to Haридживан, you're not from here. You were on Saturn, and you wanted to go to Jupiter, and I didn't think that was a good idea. So I brought you here.
We use Satanama because one great power of this mantra is if you don't have an arc line and it's not your destiny to practice these teachings, Satanama can create that for you. So it's a great blessing that someone comes in here who wasn't in their destiny to practice, that you can create that opportunity for them. So it makes you a very positive force on the planet, because there's many beings wandering around here who can be blessed and have an elevated destiny, escape the lower realms. And for those that have come here to go deeply into these teachings and to teach these teachings and spread these teachings, it gives you the command of the elements, gives you the flow of the elements, and gives you the cosmically connected intuitive awareness so you know how to assemble the elements, dance with the elements.
And I remember once we went to St. Mark's Cathedral in Venice, Italy. We had a special evening tour with just a few people. It was nighttime and quiet, and when you enter an empty cathedral at night, it was pretty spooky. But Haридживан looked into the shadows and he said to me, an entity that dwells here just greeted me. It said to him, your off-planet reputation as a master of sound precedes you. Welcome. Haридживан, as you know, carries a special sound that he's bringing to the planet Earth. And the main way he transmits that sound to his students is through Mahan Jap. And after I married him, the main way he transmits it, because it's a tantric path through a female body, is through Long Mul Mantra. And those who have practiced Long Mul Mantra with me know it's completely changed our sound. Mahan Jap, because of its special mathematical properties, allows the practitioner to gain accelerated numbers of recitations. And we've done Mahan Jap in some amazing PowerPoint places, broadcasting that sound into the planetary energy grid. We've practiced Mahan Jap in Stonehenge, inside the Giza Pyramid in Egypt, Chartres Cathedral in France, in one of the vortexes in Sedona, Mount Shasta. We even had a trip to Tibet where we did Mahan Jap in the Dalai Lama's summer palace in Lhasa. We practiced Mahan Jap in the famous Naga temple behind the Patala Palace, and also in Milarepa's cave with Hariдживан holding Milarepa's walking stick. And for many years, we practiced Mahan Jap outside St. Petersburg, Russia, close to the Finnish border. And those were some epic energy fields that we opened. In Louis' famous crystal shop in Glastonbury, England, which sits on a convergence of ley lines and is inside the heart of Avalon, we practiced Long Mul Mantra for a couple of nights. We practiced Long Mul Mantra in the Abbey on the Isle of Iona, where many people in the group heard within our sound these beautiful angels singing along with us, like a celestial choir. It was one of the most beautiful sounds I've ever heard. And once I was having a dream within a dream within a dream, and Yogi Bhajan was there. And if you ever have a dream with a great master, a great teacher, it's a very precious opportunity. And so I was having this dream within a dream within a dream, and I was speaking with Yogi Bhajan, and I told him how I was concerned about Haridjivan's health. And he looked at me, and then he looked up, and he said, with the general, all he's ever known is battle. And Haridjivan in a previous incarnation was a general in Guru Gobind Singh's army. And I think it was about 3 to 4 days I worked non-stop on the Feudal Flow of Fate film. This film was my response to the attacks in Yogi Bhajan in our lineage, and I had an extremely short, unheard of deadline to complete it. It's about a 52-minute film, and that takes a long time to make. So I hadn't slept for days. But for me, these attacks were very personal. Attacking my lineage is extremely personal for me. And I had to say something, I had to do something. Too much was at stake. And we were trying to catch a flight to Egypt, and I showed Haridjivan what I hoped was the final edit, the final version of the film. And I remember it being about 3 a.m. in the morning. I showed Haridjivan, he watched it, and he said, the film's complete, it's done. And then he heard Yogi Bhajan tell him, fire away, General. Then we posted the film. And so Haridjivan, him holding these two lineages is a source of deep confusion for students. Very deep confusion. And he told me recently, the confusion makes him extremely happy. And I said, why would that make you happy, to confuse them? He said, it makes them have to figure things out.
And so I see that a lot of times, even students who are very close with him, they make a lot of mistakes and they think he's going to correct them. But again, he's a Saturn teacher. And so if you have a teacher, you want to take every opportunity you have to practice, because in the blink of an eye, it can all go away. And that's one thing that I've always known, but I hold even more sacredly within my own heart. And I hope other people can open their hearts and to the practice and to the Dharma.
I myself am privileged to be the student of Yogi Bhajan, the Supreme Master. All my lifetimes, I've been the servant of my Lord Master. And I'm obligated to pass on the teachings that were given to me. So sit straight, open your heart, and ask for the blessing that you can walk this path of love, that you can experience this kind of joy and heightened sensitivity and sophistication, and that you're protected from the lower forces trying to pull you away, take you away, deny you, deprive you. Find in your heart that kind of magical frequency of liberation, of enlightenment, of joy and success.
Over the years, Hariджivан has collected many esoteric books. And one of my favorite passages was recorded by Yeshi Sagal. She was the chief disciple and consort of Padmasambhava. Lady Sogal asked the master, "Great master, the master and teachers of the greatest importance when entering the door of the secret mantra teachings, what should be the characteristics of the master whom one follows?" The master replied, "The master and teacher is of sole importance. The characteristics of a master are these: he should have trained his mind, he should possess many oral instructions, and he should have vast learning and experience in practice and meditation. He should be stable-minded and skilled in the methods of changing the minds of others. He should have great intelligence and care for others with compassion. He should have great faith and devotion toward the Dharma. If you follow such a master, it's like finding a wish-fulfilling jewel. All your needs and wishes will be fulfilled."